Oh, yeah, we are back. Yep, we're telling your followers that you started a live video. That is what the little notification is at the bottom. Welcome, guys, back to another, well, part two, I should say. 2 of 4 parts of the F.A.M.E Weekly Talk, all right? This happens every week right here on this Instagram Live. Yes, it does. So every week, we chat with some incredible individuals, all right, about their contributions to the food, the art, the music, and the environment. That is F.A.M.E. That is F.A.M.E for you, all right? I'm your host, Mishka McTeer. Okay, we just had a quite interesting conversation, a lovely conversation with my girl, Alicia, over there at the Eco Lifestyle Lodge. Yes, and representing art. Who do we have? Who do we have this week representing art? Guys, he is coming. Richard White. We're going to have a conversation, all right? And for music, we have Shane Free, the man with the beats. He's going to be joining us. And of course, for environment, we have Marian and Kyle Taylor from the Eco Lifestyle Lodge. Listen, we're going to be chatting with all these amazing people, all right? So, yeah, come on, guys. Spread the word, tell a friend. Come on, be a part of this. Be a part of the F.A.M.E movement. Be a part of it, all right? Oh, someone said to me, oh, Mishka, I love the thing that you're wearing in your hair. Okay, so last week, right? Like I told you, we did an interview with Kian there on the south. Yes, Margaret, Badu, Brian. We all packed up the car and we went south to my collection, Barbados. And listen, I have to find that shea butter. It smells so edible. Every time I wear it, I smell edible. Lovely. And the thing that I'm wearing in my hair is from Lock Muse. Yes, Lock Muse, man. They have so many different accessories for your hair. It's exclusive and unique, handcrafted jewelry. And guess what? It's made right here in Barbados. We're supporting local wherever we are, right? We're supporting local. That is what we do. Yes. Okay, guys. So you know how this works, all right? Like I said, every week we chat with some amazing individuals all across the board of F.A.M.E, food, art, music, the environment. And this week's theme, going east. What's in the east? A lot of things are in the east, man. That is where we're heading, to the east. Listen. Up next, who do we have? We're going to be having a chat with Mr. Richard White. I am interested to know, all right? He started off as a chef. Yes, a trained pastry chef. Man worked, he was a baker. Bread, cake, pastries. 15 long years he did this for. And decided, you know what? I had enough of this, man. I'm done. Is that what happened? He's going to clarify for us for sure, all right? He is, all right. He's living on the east. Yes, we had his wife last week. Naomi White, she was here as well. Hi, Naomi. Yes, yes, yes. And listen, the sauna that's over at Eco, he also built that as well, all right? We're going to be talking to him about, you know, I want to know what is Cob. I'm interested to know what is Cob. He built a Cob house. Where's Mr. Richard White? Yep, you see an invite that's here. Is it Mud House Pro? Oh, he is a pro. Okay, Mud House Pro. I see you, Mr. Mud House Pro. What is happening here, guys? We are chatting with Richard White, all right? He's going to be talking to us all about going.
There I am.
Hi, handsome. How are you?
My heart is beating a little fast. Everything just went black on the screen, you know, and I was just my luck.
Wasn't me, okay?
All right, cool.
How are you doing, Richard?
I am good. I am really good, man. Welcome to the East.
Well, thank you so very much. All the way to the east, we're traveling for this one, man. Everyone's good. How's the family? Everyone's good?
Everybody's good.
Nice.
Everybody's good. We blessed.
Nice.
Everything. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, Richard, tell us.
Mm-hmm.
What do we need to know about you? What do we need to know about Richard White? You know, your contribution to the art. Oh, you are an art.
Where do we start?
Yeah. Building a house with a Cob is art.
Yeah. Okay, before we get right into that, I clarify your intro to me. I was a baker. I wasn't really a chef.
Oh, a baker. My bad.
That's the only thing. I'm a trained baker. That's what I do. So I think I baked for about 10 years. Don't quote me ever on when I call the years. It's approximately for about 10 years or so. And then I shifted into cooking and you know, as Alicia said, I'm not a trained chef, but I just got really interested into making food and healthy food. So I
Okay.
did that for
Uh-huh.
maybe 5 years, and
Hmm.
then that led me to where I am now. I just got more and more into health and really understood the importance of eating properly
Yeah.
as I became a chef, like
Yeah.
cooking a lot for people. I got a lot into the gluten-free stuff,
Hmm.
but made everything from scratch. And that time my kids were young and they would be the guinea pigs. And I always figured that if I could do gluten-free stuff that
Hmm.
kids love, then I know that,
Yes,
people would
exactly.
get into it.
The taste
But
test is right there.
yeah, I just, yeah, always liked farming. I grew up on a farm here in St. Joseph.
Hmm.
Um, but I was more interested in like gardening, growing my own food and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. And I always had one foot in that. But I
Hmm.
found the biggest problem is it just didn't work for me. It didn't work, one foot in the garden and one foot in the rat race, you
Yeah.
know. So maybe 5 years ago, again, don't quote me on the years, roughly
Don't quote him on the years.
5 years or so, I kind of quit. I gave up job and everything,
Uh-huh.
and just said, look, I'm going to focus 100% on the land,
Yeah.
just try and grow as much as I possibly can, and build. Obviously, with leaving the rat race, I also left the income,
Mm.
the job security,
Yeah.
and you know, a lot of people didn't quite agree with what I was doing because I had kids and I had a wife.
Mhm.
Not had, I still have them, luckily.
That's
But it was a very difficult. It's not an easy decision when you have something good going and life is good, as in you're comfortable. To adjust from one day to another. Say, like, I done with it.
but you got to be true
Um,
to yourself too, Richard.
Sorry, come
You
in.
have to be, it's important for us to be true to ourselves, right?
Yes, of course. But I think one of the biggest problems with that is, how this world is set out. You get a lot of doubts, because people you meet will say, but suppose somebody gets sick, you need money, you need this, you got kids, and all of a sudden it all comes crashing down. So yeah, you got to be strong, and it's really good if you have. And I'm really lucky that my family, although my dad isn't too much into that, but
Mhm.
at the end of the day, they supported me, and my wife, she supported me. And
Yep.
when I mean supported me emotionally, like, look, if that's what you want to do, you're gonna have to do it. Um, I made a promise to my wife that with me losing my income, that I would not depend on her to
Mm.
supplement for what I can't provide anymore. So my responsibility is home based. I always work from home and stuff. So I always cook for my family. From day one, always cook breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever the case, right? So I provided the food for the table and anything to do on the land and with the house being built and all of these kind of things. So I kept those responsibilities. I mean, there were a couple of times that, Noemi would have to help me out with some things,
That you burn
but
the food, Richard. Did you burn the food? You can say
yeah,
it's
boy,
fine.
you know, um, but that also made the journey, it was no longer kind of a dream.
Hmm.
I literally had to get up and get some things in the ground planted, get things going,
Yeah.
and that's how I got into the Cob Building because we lived in a house, we still live in it. That was supposed to be our temporary house, um, like literally a little plywood house with plywood shutters,
Yeah.
quite small. And we just lived in it, and the idea was to eventually somewhere on the land build the house,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and luckily none of that really happened. We just after about 15 years we realized, hey, why do we need a big house or a different house, or like what else do we really need? We don't. But what I did want to do, I wanted to expand a bit. It was just a one-room house, really and truly. We just had one big room. Babies, we were all in one room,
One
right?
big
More
room.
or less. But in the country, nice, kind of a semi-outdoor kitchen, like everything I kind
Nice.
of built myself. But obviously, no, I wanted to, get the house a little more comfortable, add on a couple more rooms maybe,
Mhm.
but one more room, just a more of a living area. And actually just to separate our bedroom so that Noemi and I could have, a little privacy.
That
That
was
only
nice.
happened about 5 or 6 years ago too,
And
so
and that happened, and this expansion started happening with you adding onto the house using the cob material.
yes, yes,
Okay,
that's
so let's
getting into
talk
the
about it
scope.
because I'm
Yeah,
interested to know, right? What
yeah.
is cob? What is cob?
Hmm. Cob is a fancy word or a nicer way of saying mud. So, it's a lot. Somehow it sounds a lot nicer if I say, "Hey, my house is out of cob."
Is of the
Because
cob.
now you're going to say, "What's Cob?" And I can explain it. If I come to you out of the blue and say, "Yeah, I live in a mud house," then it's kind of like, okay,
Yeah,
is he
yeah.
nuts or what? But I mean, it's not to be frowned upon at all. I mean, this
Okay.
is ancient stuff. This is nothing new that I'm doing
Ex-
at all. The I would say the only difference that I've added to it, not me personally, but I got this information. Oh, I got my PhD in Google just by the way, right? I
He's
like
a
I,
doctor in Google.
I mastered that. Learned all about Cobb just through that and ordering books and these kind of things. And in America, in certain parts where people are really into this whole
Sustainable living.
sustainable
Yes,
living and stuff,
seen it.
they just turned this kind of ancient mud work into art. So they sculpted their houses. So there's
Mhm.
no reason a wall has to be this straight thing going up. You can sculpt a huge tree
Yes,
as a pillar. You can. It's just the sky is the limit.
definitely.
100%. The
Definitely.
more you can imagine, the more you can do.
So,
And
so you live in a
yeah,
mud house. You live in a mud
yeah.
house. Basically, you live in a mud house. Okay.
Partial, partially part of it is yeah,
I want to know what made you decide to, because you're building it, right? You built it. You're
yeah,
still
yeah,
in the process of building. You did it,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
What made you decide to take that route?
Lack of money.
Lack of money.
I say, how can I build? I want to build a house, but how can I build a comfortable house for my family
Yeah,
without money? You
yeah.
know. Um, so that's exactly what I started to Google, like alternative buildings, like different methods, like just to get some ideas.
Yeah.
And there are a number of them. There are different methods, but most of them weren't suitable for our kind of high humidity climate,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But then I came across this cob, and it was I honestly can't remember if I specifically looked that up or if looking under alternative building, a picture of a clubhouse just appeared. And
Mm.
it's just this beautiful, everything rounded and curved. And those moments in life when that ding, I just looked at that and says, I have to live in a house like that. I have to live in a house that is beautiful, you
That's how
know.
I feel right
And
now.
this was the funny part, right? Because here I am. I just quit my work and everything. Don't have any bank account with no fat money on it, right? So here I am, going to my wife and say, look, honey, I'm I'm going to build a house, and she's always positive. She's like, okay,
Wow.
we don't have money though. I said, oh, build it out of mud. We got lots of mud, and it sounded really funny when I actually said it out aloud,
Uh-huh.
but it also solidified. It also went like, shit, I'm going to do this. So I
Yes.
started to experiment with our soils here. And obviously, I didn't jump right into building the house out of the cob. I wanted to test the material, So started to build like pizza ovens,
Yeah.
those kind of things first. Just so the first oven I built is, don't quote me on the years, maybe 8 years or so,
Mm-hmm.
about 8 years old or something like that. And
Yeah.
that's out being weathered in the weather. and it's holding up. And that's the most popular question people would ask. It's mud, rain, but
Wash
your house is
away.
going to wash away.
Yeah.
Slowly. It's true, slowly. But that oven is more or less like a test thing I have out there. It's exposed to the elements. It is eroding, but it's not eroding at a pace that you would panic. Like
Yeah.
a
Oh my
full
God, rain is gonna come and I have no oven. No, it's not
right.
gonna be that.
And there are definitely ways. Excuse me. There are ways you can waterproof cob inexpensively, and that is one of those ways. Is just using oil, like linseed oil,
Linseed
boiling it.
oil.
Yeah, linseed oil will, like how you would paint a house, you would just paint with linseed oil. The walls absorb that oil, and you know what? Oil repels water,
Yeah.
so water is not going to be sucked in. The reason you don't use like paint. Anyhow, I think I'm getting ahead of myself. Cob. Let's just start with the cob.
Cob.
Really,
Okay. So so you explain to us what it is. I want to know what's the process. What's the process?
yeah.
Okay, so you decide to start building the house. What did you do? You went out. You got like a truckload of clay. What was the process?
Yeah. I live close to Mount Wilton Plantation, and they have that really nice red clay soil.
Yeah.
And I spoke to the owner of that plantation and just told him I wanted to do some experimenting, and he actually just gave me a load. Now, theoretically, if I was building my house from scratch, what I would dig out for my foundation is what would usually be enough to build your house. But I wasn't building from scratch, so I didn't want to go and just dig a hole somewhere on the land, for the soil. So I went somewhere else that had the soil. And I tested that. So the glue, what really holds it all together is the clay content in the soil. If you have a soil with no clay, clay is the glue in soil, So that's the only science to it. You got to figure out how much clay you have, because when clay is wet, it expands. When clay dries, it shrinks.
Yeah.
So imagine building something with clay, and then as it dries, it shrinks and it cracks. You can't build a house like that. That's scary, right? And it wouldn't. That's not the way to go. So you use sand. If there's too much clay, you have to add sand. Sand does not expand or contract. Sand remains the same size whether it's wet or dry. So the sand just fills in that area, So the easiest way to do that, I did test bricks, do about 10 different test bricks with the soil with different ratios of soil and sand. And you put those out in the sun, and the one that dries and has no cracks or no shrinkage, that's the mix you're going to use. So like for me, I know the soil I use 1 bucket of soil to 2 buckets of sand. Right? Okay. And I didn't even have money to buy sand, so I used to go and dig my own sand in a quarry. Old quarry. I wasn't stealing. I asked permission. But
I wouldn't know what are you stealing sand, Richard?
No. I did everything. That's it. I literally had no money. I couldn't buy a wheelbarrow, so I just was motivated and said, look, I'm not going to let money always make that final decision. Oh, I can't do this because I don't have money. You look at any other animal in this world, they build their houses, but we humans, we spend our whole lives on a house, paying off for it, and the mortgage, and it's crazy, right? And I just kind of wanted to go a different route, So you mix, and you can't use a cement mixer, because when you have, this is soil, lumps of soil, and the clay is usually in small, round thing. So if you just have that in a concrete mix and mixing, you're not really getting the clay out. The clay is still whole, So you have to use your feet, I use my bare feet. You get a tarpaulin, you put your soil down. Okay, you soak your soil overnight to get it soft, right? You throw that on the tarp, you throw your sand, and you dance in it. Just with your heels, you dance. You put on some cool tune, put on some cool tunes, burn something if you want,
Yeah.
and listen, it is serious. It is a workout,
Yes.
and it is also, I don't know. For me, I learned a lot about myself.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much. There again, I'm alone all day. The kids at school, 6:30 in the morning, they're gone.
Yeah.
Noemi's at work and the kids at school, and it's just me. And I
Yeah.
go out, put on the tunes, start doing this work. You
Uh-huh.
mix the sand, you mix the clay, and the last ingredient is straw or hay. That's
Yes.
actually instead of steel. But
Mm-hmm.
concrete, you use metal, steel, rebar.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the cob world, the hay is the rebar, and it really holds everything together. And the hay is preserved in that. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't rot out or anything like that.
Wow.
So yeah, and then you just start building your walls. You don't go very high at one time. You
Mm-hmm.
go probably just about a foot
Yeah.
because it's mud. You can imagine if you go too high, the walls will start sagging
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
bulging and stuff.
Yeah.
So you just go about in a day about a foot. So in one go, I would do about 6 inches all
Yeah.
along the perimeter,
Mm-hmm.
and then another 6 inches. That's enough for the day. So for me, that was about 4 or 5 hours work. So that was every day. I just did that,
Every day.
and every corner of your house. I know every corner. I know every curve. I know
Everything.
the sofa, our furniture, everything is made out of it.
Wow.
And there is a feeling, I don't know, it's just one of those things that
Gratification.
I guess it's not for everyone. It's not for everybody.
Yeah. For me,
Obviously,
the work
nothing is for
process, because
everybody.
I've actually been looking online. It's been a few months, and every time I see, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get a house that is made out. I say cob out of. I see they using broken glass. They use
Yeah,
tiles in
yeah,
the walls. I mean, totally
yeah,
self-sustainable as well. The watering
yeah,
system is like reuse the
yeah,
same water used to wash the dishes. It flushes the toilet.
yeah,
It waters the garden.
yeah,
I am
yeah,
so impressed. Believe you me. Oh
yeah.
my goodness. My hat is off to you for sure, for sure.
Sweet, man.
Richard,
Yeah,
I want to know, how long did
yeah.
this process take?
You froze.
For real. How long did this process take for you to build this house?
How long?
Yeah.
All right, let's put it this way. I could
Don't quote
do
you in
a
years.
foot. I could do a foot a day
Yeah.
in height.
Uh-huh.
So the average house, this is a two-story house. You can do it. You can do a two-story house if you want, but I wasn't. So my walls are about 7 feet tall, 7 to 8 feet. So
Mm-hmm.
theoretically, in 8 days, I could more or
Yeah.
less have the walls complete. After
Wow.
that, you plaster it and stuff all with the same material, just that you sift it now and get rid of all the little fine rocks, and you don't
Mm-hmm.
use straw. You might use more like you need some kind of fiber, but
Yeah.
you got to cut it up real fine, you know, or use lawn trimmings or something like that. Because that's to make the plaster now, just like mortar, just like cement plaster to
Yeah.
smooth up the wall. You just use the mud, sifted mud, so there are no stones in it,
Mm-hmm.
and you smooth out your walls, and then from there you can paint them whatever color you want, or but it took me a long time because obviously I'm a dreamer and I do so many things. I do so many things. I have animals, I have the garden. My mom and dad were alive then. My dad passed. My mom is still here. We live on the same property, just next door. Being a father, being a husband, being a son,
Yeah.
cooking, still having to, as this is going on, I still have to cook dinner for the family. Everybody coming home looking for food.
Of course.
And, so, and sometimes some things come in play when you have family. It's not all about you, as in me, where money is needed. So in between, some project would come up, like for instance, the sauna at Eco, you know, but
Yeah.
that's more close at this time. But back then, there were other little projects that would come out. I would do bamboo work for people, or, you know, just not something to take up too much of my time.
Yeah.
You know, but something that I know has a beginning and an ending, and I get some money, and then I'm good for a while again, you know.
Yeah.
And kind of learned a lot from it too. Just one of these things that I would like to encourage people to do, because it's something really simple and it's a lot of fun. This, for instance, a solar oven. They're so easy to make. So easy to make.
There's a man who builds
And
a house. Okay, Richard.
yeah, I mean, there it was, and that happened there again because I had to. It was one of these days when I literally had no money. I didn't know what to cook. I had plantain. I had some fish. No, I didn't know what to cook, and I was cooking, but the gas went out.
Oh.
And yeah, and the previous days was very rainy, so I don't have firewood stacked up or anything like that. So everything was really wet. To have a fire now, you know, was you know, kind of out of the question. And it was sunny though, and I was saying, you know what, solar oven.
Yeah.
And this is about 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock in the morning, and I there again Google and get some easy plans, and I built one out of scrap, like old wood, and yeah, I got a lot of stuff knocking around, you know. I don't throw away much, so a lot of old paint and stuff like that. Did up the thing and literally put the food in a big cast iron pot, put it in the solar oven, out to the sun by midday. I was just saying, we'll see what happens when they come home at 5 o'clock.
Yes.
I will go in that pot and hope that, you know, it's cooked. And so it happened, you know, when just about when they were coming home, I went to check the pot, and just stupidly I opened up everything and held the pot, and it was hot.
You held,
you know,
the
not
pot
hot.
in your hand?
Not, yeah, well, I do that a lot actually, but I don't learn.
Wow.
But I didn't think it would work in my head. I was saying this, you know, let me check it, but it was hot, you know. And when I opened up the cover, see the steam come out, I was like, gee, food cook, boy. But it was. These are things sometimes I wonder why is it that, like, in our school systems, every kid should know how to build one of those, especially in Barbados. You know what I mean? It's you could take that to the beach.
Yeah.
Once you get 5 hours of our sun, right? Anything you got in there cooked. And it ain't gonna burn. It's not like you gotta check it. It doesn't burn. So it's literally lazy man way of cooking. Throw everything in one pot, put it out in the sun, and enjoy yourself. And when the sun goes down, check it, you know.
Nice. And you got some cooked food, Richard. Some cooked food. What?
So I was proud of myself.
Before you go, right, I want to know, just tell us how easy it is, like, to start. If we wanted to know, like, okay, so I'm thinking I want to build a house. What steps can we take? You know, even if it's something as simple as an oven, because you and I both know obviously the positive environmental impact that it has. All right.
Yeah.
I just want to know, but before you answer that question, so I'm giving you 3 questions in one. Right? Does it have a smell?
Well, the cob.
Yeah. When you sit inside and relax, it's like I can smell.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. It's actually the walls breathe. They're breathable walls. Yeah. So it's very cool. When outside is hot. When outside is hot, inside is cool. And vice versa. It's just the natural way of these walls. They're breathing walls. So no, there's absolutely no smell or anything like that. None whatsoever.
Okay, good, wonderful. So tell us, we want to get started in this. I'm thinking I want to do a house. I want to do a cob house. Like I said, even if it's not something as big as a house, a project, like something, an oven or something. How do we kind of get started? You're going to tell us to go to Google, aren't you?
Yeah, well, just call me and I'll do it. And no, that's a joke.
Oh, well, if you're paid, of course. If it's a job, if it's a paying job.
Research. I would advise anyone. There are 2 things. All the information is online, and definitely I am honestly, I will help anyone or answer any questions. You know,
Consultation fee, of course, is not for free. Hashtag pay me.
well, see, I need help with those kind of things, right? Someone will have to sort it out for me.
Your
Anyhow,
wife is more
yeah,
than happy. Naomi, get on the case. She's doing consultation.
I think she's worse than me when it comes to those things. But anyhow, hope she's not listening, is she? No, no. If okay, I would definitely not start out doing a house. You know, I think oven is a cool thing. It's just a fun thing, and you know, it's manageable. There are tons of info online, and just to add to that, then get up and do it. I think a lot of people today they sit home, they have a lot of information because they see a lot of stuff, but they just never get up and actually start it and do it.
Yeah.
So I would advise people just get up and do it. Don't be afraid to make a mistake. Mistakes are the coolest thing because that's where you actually learn and improve. You know, without mistakes, no one can get anywhere without mistakes. So I really encourage, the info is out there. Go. You don't even have to do a big oven. You can do something small, something that you can do in 1 day or 2 days, you know.
Yeah.
I did a little rocket stove. Yeah, they're just cool little projects. And yeah, just get up and do it, you know.
So hold on. What this is oven, this stove that you built, what does it work on? You know, is it coals? What is it? How does it
Oh
work?
no, yeah, wood. It was coals. So like the original pizza, I have a lot of ovens. I built all sorts of ovens.
I'm coming to get one day. I
The
want a
main
lazy
one,
woman oven. I'm coming to get an oven. I want a lazy woman oven. I want to put all my food in that. Go away, come back home, and it's done.
yeah, well, the standard, they say pizza oven. It's a pizza oven, but it's an oven. You can bake anything in it.
Yeah.
I think they call it a pizza oven because it has the right kind of temperature to do that proper thin crust,
Thin crust, yeah.
crispy crust pizza, right? 3-minute pizzas or 2-minute pizzas or, you know, crazy speeds like that. And it's really simple. You build your oven, right? Once you have your oven built, you build a fire in your oven for about 2 to 3 hours, right? If the harder the wood, the better.
Yeah.
I like steel grate. Steel grate wood is a good wood, and that's plentiful on the East Coast. A lot of old rotten trees. I don't go chopping down nobody tree, but you know there are a lot of old rotten trees that you get good lumber from.
Yeah.
So you let a fire burn for about 2 hours, and then you can literally scrape all of that out. You don't have to leave any coals inside that oven. This is no joke. You scrape it all out, and you have 12 hours of cooking time. 12 hours of cooking time.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
The
Oh my
temperature
God.
obviously comes down, but you should organize yourself. And so you start out with like pizzas, and breads, and as the temperature drops, now you can go into like casseroles and you know, just things that need. And then right down if you eat your meat and you got a nice piece of something, big piece that to slow cook, that will be the last thing you put in the oven, and you go to sleep. And in the morning when you wake up, that's like cooked to perfection,
done.
right?
And you ain't paying no money for gas or electricity because you're using the wood outside to burn this clay oven. What? Look, Alicia's sending you much respect. Alicia's like, listen, Alicia's like, big up yourself, Richard. What?
Thanks, Alicia. Thanks,
nice.
Alicia. Yeah, she's a special one. Yeah.
She really is. Boy, cook some real good food too. I would tell you that right now.
Yeah, for real.
Richard. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for sharing it. Someone just asked if this man built a house out of mud. It's called Cob. Okay, that's what it is. It's Cob.
Yeah. Cob. Yeah. It's mud. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm very proud of it. Listen, that sauna at Eco, I just have to mention Grantley. Grantley was your second name. I don't even know his second name. Jeez, no. Anyhow, Grantley is good. He's the guy. I started with him.
Yeah.
You know, so and I had 2 other guys helping me out with, you know, moving all the rocks and bringing in the materials and stuff. You know, I got to give them credit too. You know, Steve and Bam Bam and Grantley. You know,
Bam Bam and Bradley.
Yeah.
Yes.
They all have parts. part of it. Yeah.
Yes.
Sweet.
Well, Richard, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy schedule to sit and chat and have a conversation with us. We really, really do appreciate it. Listen, you have no idea.
Sweet, man.
This was such an informative chat. Now we can actually know for sure it has been done in Barbados. You've built a house out
Yes.
of cob
Yes.
mud, and it can
Yes.
be done. All right, for sure.
Yes, for sure. For sure.
Yes. Richard, again, thank you so much. All the
You're
best.
welcome.
I'm coming for that
Thanks.
oven.
No
Okay?
problem. No
Coming for
problem.
that oven. Alrighty, Richard. Thank
Sweet.
you so
Thanks for
much.
having me.
Yes, you're
All right.
welcome.
Say hi to
Alrighty.
Badu and Margit
And
for me.
Margaret. I will. I will. I will.
Cheers.
Yes.
All
Oh,
right.
goodness. Bye. So
Good night.
inspiring, man. We just had a conversation with Richard. We're talking. Listen, you can imagine this man built a whole house out of mud. A cob pizza oven. If you have pizza down at Eco, you know exactly who built that oven, man. Wow, such an inspiring conversation, man. We just spoke to Richard White, sharing his experience with us, man. Building houses out of mud. We can do this, all right. So stick around, guys. Up next, who do we have? We're heading on over to Canada. We're going to have a conversation with Shane Free. He is rapping music. Yes, he is. So you know how this works, all right? We're going to head on out. Make sure that we save this video. And we're going to be back with more F.A.M.E Weekly Talk. Yay!